Right before we jump into this video, if you'd like me to send you a free guide to capturing motion in low light situations, just look for this orange box over on froknosphoto.com, put your name, email address in it, hit send it. I'm going to send you that guide for free. Jared Polin, froknosphoto.com, and in this video I'm going to help you Nikon Z-mount shooters decide on what is the best super telephoto budget-friendly lens for you. Now, I say budget-friendly because a 600mm f4 from Nikon with a TC built in is a $16,000 lens. It's expensive. And the lenses right here, though they may be expensive, these are much more affordable. We're also only talking about lenses that are 600mm or beyond. There are some other options that exist like 100 to 400 or some Tamron lenses that are out there as well, but we're talking about super telephoto lenses at this point. Now, we've got the 800mm 6.3, we have a 600mm 6.3, and we have a 180 to 600, which is a 5.6 to 6.3. Lenses that are great for birding or wildlife or sports or all of the above. These we like to call premium primes because they're not the best of the best with honors, but they're also not bad at all. They're incredible lenses. Now, I would almost want to call this a fixed aperture lens that's a zoom, but it's not fixed aperture because it's 5.6 to 6.3, but that's a third of a stop. That is not a big range. You're not losing that much light. So this is a pretty impressive lens. Now, I do have hands-on reviews of each of these lenses, and they are listed down below so you can get all of the details and information for each one of these lenses so you can help make a decision if they are right for you. Now, in regards to this video, I like to consider this the cliff notes of the other videos that we've already done. So let's start over here with the biggest lens on the table right now, the 800mm 6.3. This is a VRS PF lens. Phase Fresnel. It's the type of element that they can put into this that's lighter but gives you great optics and allows them to make the lenses smaller but still be super powerful. One of the first ones they ever put out was a 300mm f4, which was the size of a 24 to 70 at the time, which was an incredible choice, an incredible lens to actually have. So Nikon has done a great job of making lenses smaller but keeping the quality there. Now, this is an expensive lens. This is a $6,500 lens that weighs in at 5.2 pounds, which is 2.4 kilograms. Now, you don't see the lens hood on any of these lenses right now because if we did that, they'd be standing up much taller and end up blocking me. So what is a fixed 800mm lens good for? Absolutely nothing. It reminds me of the song, what is it good for? War? Absolutely nothing. No, I mean, it's good for something. But 800 is so limiting. I mean, maybe it's good for wildlife and nature. It's not exactly great for sports because 800mm in any of the sports is going to be very difficult to use, especially baseball. I mean, I've used an 800 at baseball, but it is very limiting. So maybe it's just for things at a super distance that you can't get close to, and this would be the option. I mean, it's a nice lens. I already said that it's heavy. It is pretty expensive, but in comparison to that 600 f4 that's $16,000, I mean, this is pretty good. Let me show you the lens hood real quick because it's massive. This is the size of the lens hood. You can see how much extra height it's going to add, but again, it's an 800mm. So if you find that that's something that's right for you, then this might be a great choice if you need that. Now, moving down the line, let's come over to the 600mm 6.3 VRS. Both of these lenses have that VR. You're gonna get the extra compensation when you pair it with the Nikon Z bodies. And so this is small. Look at the size of this. This is a 600mm lens compared to Nikon's massive 600 f4 with the TC. This thing comes in at $4,796. 3 pounds or 1.4 kilograms. A 600mm is a more usable range, shall we say, compared to an 800 because it's going to be good for certain sports, it's going to be good for wildlife and nature, but again, these are primes. They are lenses where they do not zoom and give you a lot of range because your feet are the range. So if a bird is coming towards you and you're trying to track them, you might not be able to get them fully because if they get too close, you can't go ahead and pull back on the zoom. There's always pros and cons to having a prime versus a zoom lens. Let me jump in here real quick because I want to show you our custom Lightroom presets in action on this cute dog right here, starting with Blue's Clues, followed by Brooklyn. We've got C41, Coppertone, which looks awesome, DeLorean, High C, Kaleidoscope, Mel Brooks, Saltwater Taffy, Thick, Tintype, and Wet Hot American Summer. And my all-time favorite from FroPak 1, with one click, we've got Skittles, and it goes boom. But all new and exclusive to FroPak 4, we have 4 custom adaptive Lightroom presets called Face Enhance, Full Body Skin Enhance, Eye Only Enhance, and Background Blur. So look, if you want to speed up your raw workflow, give yourself a great starting point, or you're just tired of other people's presets sucking, as you can see, our presets do not suck. That's why we created 14 all-new custom Lightroom presets that you can check out right now at froknowsphoto.com/FroPak4. While you're over there, you can play with the sliders to see the befores and the afters, and if you decide to pick them up right now, they are currently on sale. Or if you want to get the Grand Slam bundle that includes FroPak 1, 2, 3, and 4, and of course my favorite Skittles, you can save even more. Now, let's get back to the video. When we move to this zoom lens, you're gonna see that a lot of the cons that might actually be there's not a lot of trade-offs when you get to this 180 to 600. Now this one comes in at $1,896 or $1,900, weighs 4.7 pounds, which is a lot heavier than the 600 6.3 or 2.1 kilograms, and it's just a VR. It's not a VRS. This was the first lens that came out on the table. These came out after the fact, so we think that Nikon was like, well, these are our premium primes. We might as well put the gold ring back on there to delineate the difference between the zoom. Now, this is a zoom, and we said it's a variable aperture, so that's 5.6 to 6.3, but that means you're only losing a third of a stop of light as you zoom all the way out. So at 180, you're at 5.6, and when you get all the way out to the end, you are at that 6.3, and somewhere in the middle, it then goes ahead and switches over. But you're not losing that much light. I mean, even if you just left it on manual and you were off by a third of a stop, that's not gonna be the deal breaker at the end of the day at all. A zoom lens like this, your trade-off is this is gonna be heavier. These are considered Nikon's top of the line. This I consider to be a fantastic option. It's a great lens. It is a great zoom range. When you think about what you could photograph with this, I think about when I go to Kenya on safari, this would be the one lens to basically rule them all on a safari. Whereas Canon has a 100 to 500, I think a 180 to 600 is more versatile out there in the real world. It's gonna be great for people that photograph birds, for wildlife. You can use it for sports. Just understand that 6.3 is not going to obliterate that background as much, but when you're zoomed out to 600 millimeters at 6.3, you are still going to obliterate that background. It's not going to look bad at all. Now, speaking of zooming, you might think that a lens like this would be external zooming, meaning that it extends beyond the barrel of the lens, or as you zoom, the barrel extends. Well, no, this is all internal zooming. I think Nikon did a fantastic job with this lens and may have done themselves a disservice by coming out with it before they came out with these. I say that because is it actually worth the extra cost to have less options because this is an S lens? I really don't think so. I think, if I'm leaning people in a direction and you don't need a prime like this, I mean, this is small, this is gorgeous. For a 600 millimeter to be this small and compact, that's incredible. If you find yourself, and you know that you need just a fixed 600, you can't go wrong with this. If you need a fixed 800, you're not gonna find anything else from anybody out there that's going to give you this at the price that it gives it to you at. Speaking of wanting more reach, what about teleconverters? You can put teleconverters on each of these lenses. Now, your 800 millimeter with a 1.4 teleconverter is going to become an 1120 millimeter lens at f9 or 1600 millimeters at f13. So you are losing out on a lot of light. And what are you shooting at 1600 millimeters? I don't know. I mean, not very much. There's not much you need to shoot at 1600 millimeters. And when you go ahead and go on the 600 millimeter, you're getting 840 millimeters with a 1.4 at f9 and 1200 millimeters at f13 with a 2x converter. I'm not a big fan of teleconverters personally. You're gonna get a little slower speed, you're gonna lose quality just ever so slightly, but you just have to think about what do you need to reach out and grab with those teleconverters. Now, what about putting filters on these lenses? Say you wanna put an ND filter or a circular polarizer. These two lenses right here do have front elements that do allow you to screw on filters. The big boy right here, the 800, you need to do the drop-in filters that go behind the lens element. So keep in mind if those are something that you'd like to do or if that's what you would like to add to your lenses. Now, there are some other options that exist that don't go out to 600 millimeters with Nikon. We'll call those honorable mentions. You could look at something like a 200 to 500 5.6 that is an F-mount lens, because you can still adapt older F-mount lenses to the Nikon Z-mount cameras. Now, you might lose out on some focus speed. You have to spend more money to get those adapters, and the VR pairing isn't going to be the same. You don't get the same advantage as when you pair these native new Z-mount lenses to the body. So you have a 200 to 500, you might save some money, but you might lose out on some of the quality. Now, there are third-party options at the time of recording this, and there might be more in the future from Sigma and Tamron. There is a native Tamron lens right now available, but we don't really consider that to be the best of the best with honors, and it's a 150 to 500 millimeter 5 to 6.7 VC. It's a $1,200 lens. It's 3.8 pounds or 1.7 kilograms. So it is a pretty heavy lens at that point, but it is only $1,200. And if you just need something that gives you a vast zoom range but doesn't go to 600, that's an option that you might want to consider. Let me jump in here real quick and let you know that this video is brought to you by Squarespace. If you're looking to build your very own online portfolio, use what I've used for my personal website at jaredpolin.com for close to 15 years now, because it's simple, easy, affordable, and I don't need to know any coding. And if I want to sell some prints, it's real easy to set up a store right there in my Squarespace. To get a 14-day free trial, head on over to squarespace.com/FronosPhoto. If you decide that it's for you, use the code FronosPhoto at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Now, let's get back to the video. Also, in terms of F-mount lenses, people ask me this all the time, how are the older Sigma or Tamrons? Because you have a Sigma 150 to 600, 5 to 6.3, or the Tamron 150 to 600, which is also a 5 to 6.3. They're going to be okay when you adapt them. Are they going to be up to the quality of the modern Z lenses? The answer to that is no. But for some people, if you can save a lot of money and you already have the adapter, it's going to do a fair enough job. I can't tell you it's going to do the best of the best with Honor Sir, but those are the options that exist from third party that are going to allow you to get that 600 millimeters. But the ones right here, we consider to be the best of the best with Honor Sir. Now, in terms of hand holdability, all of these lenses are hand holdable, which is pretty impressive for such a large zoom range of this, as well as just the prime range for this. I don't even think you need to put these on a monopod for most things, unless you're tracking a bird and you want to be on one of those Wimberley heads, and that's your type of thing and you don't want to hold it all the time. You can put it on a monopod, you can put it on a tripod, or you can hand hold it. These are light enough and fully capable of doing so. I think these are fantastic options right here. I don't know personally, if I had to choose between these three lenses, I'm personally going with the versatility of a zoom of a 180 to 600 over these primes. I'm saving money. I'm basically getting the same aperture. I'm gonna get great results with this. And it's a lot more affordable than the other ones, coming in at only $1,900. Once again, if you want to check out our hands-on reviews of each of these lenses, you can do those down below. And if you decide to pick them up, you can use our affiliate links, which help us to continue to make these videos. So which one of these lenses would you choose and why? Please let me know down below. Thank you very much for watching. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com. See ya.